Good evening. My name is Miss V. Welcome to Show and Tell with Miss V. And tonight, oh, by the way, it's to be exact, it is 8:15 p.m. both in Manila, Philippines and in Perth, Australia, where my very handsome Beauty and Brains guest is right now. I tell you, she likes that Beauty and Brains. I feel so insecure. Okay, whenever I say that. And we have something in common. Most people think we love to talk. No, we don't love to talk. We love having conversations. What kind of conversations? Well, as long as it belongs to only one category. And the category is called Life is Not a Prepared Speech. Now, that is interesting because you're wondering, why did they say that? And we're going to ask Tom, what's this thing about prepared speech? And what's this thing about Miss B and candid conversations? By the way, Candid Conversations is the name of my weekly column in a newspaper. Find it on Google. Read my name, Vivien Mangalindan, my guest, Tom Bielski. Look for Candid Conversations, and you will find my guest online in a couple of hours from now. My YouTube channel, Show and Tell with Miss B. I will repeat it again for the second time once more, this time with feeling over and over again. Show and Tell with Miss B. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Vivian. Great to be here.
Why are we doing this?
Because we love having conversations together.
There you go. Now, with what you just said, I think more than me, you are going to freak people out because you talk about giving prepared speeches. And how come you even like me to be your friend when I don't like speeches? I just like conversations with a crowd of 10,000 or one on one. Give me your take on how we're able to maintain a friendship in spite of.
I truly believe that life comes in all flavors and in all spices, and you need to have people in your life who will challenge you, who will build you, who will support you, who will allow you to grow. And you can't just support yourself with just one type of person, because then that becomes boring and you don't enrich yourself. You got to have all types of people.
Actually, that sounds good. I always think of anything in terms of food. Even if we give you your favorite dish, but just your favorite food, Tom. No salad, no soup, no drinks, no dessert, no coffee, no tea. Because I asked you, what do you want to eat? And the person says, my favorite food. So be careful what you ask for. I'm just going to give you your favorite food. Ha. Now, I love what you just said. You and I have the ability to deal, to share, and most of all, to engage with people. That is what the joy of candid conversations all about. Prepared speeches are good. At some point in time, we have to. Question is, what happens even after you deliver your prepared speech? Someone asks you a question, and you know what happens, right? In presentations, click, 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 and they go back to the slide. As I was saying in slide number 243, you're absolutely dead. Can you give your take on that, your commentary, Tom?
I believe in public speaking, there are many levels that you should aspire to reach. And the highest of those levels is to know what you want to say by being prepared, but not reciting the speech. So as you know, Vivian, I'm a public speaker. I do enjoy public speaking. I practice it regularly. But what I'm aiming for is to reach a level where I can have a conversation with someone, knowing what it is we're going to be talking about and which way we'll go. Of course, it's sometimes more exciting having a conversation for the first time with somebody brand new. But you have to sometimes be prepared to have a conversation with someone, a challenging conversation at work, for example. You do need to be prepared.
The one I find most exciting is, you think back, Tom, maybe to when we were a little bit, or in my case, much younger, And some, hey, I saw you laugh. One day you're gonna reach my age, you know. Remember we be at the party? Someone walks in, and before we can think, we feel and we hear. Dug, 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 dug. Oh my goodness, it's our crush. What the weird speech, Tom.
I have never been good at small talk, especially when my heart's thumping because my crush is in the corner. I have been very bad at that. So I do not know how I got to my 40 teens and survived all that.
Now that's really very funny. I will share with you, not to brag, but to share with you and the world how silly works. Okay? I'm not gonna lose the chance because the person's already in front of me. So I actually tell the guy, I really did. And today I still do. If there's someone I really like, I still tell him anyway. And I tell the guy like, oh my Lord, I really say that. I thought I know what to tell you. Then I just, the powerful pause, stare and say, but I don't. So the best I can do is say hi. And the guy just cracks up. What I'm trying to say is people love real people.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Authenticity is one of those things then when you've trained your ear and your eye for it, you can tell when people are trying to fake it. And there are some pretty good fakers of authenticity out there, you know, and you do have to keep an eye out for them. You always have to be careful about it. I think as long as you're authentic, whether you are confident or nervous, whether you are speaking a lot or speaking a little, I think authenticity always will build a connection, a level of trust, and perhaps even a long-term relationship. Need to be authentic.
You know, Tom, I love what you're saying because I tell people we want to be authentic, we want to be real, we should. They ask me why. And I tell them simple. No matter how good we think we are, what if we still project fake? Not need to share you a neat little trick that we broadcasters know.
Sure.
When we have, let's say myself, I'll speak for myself. When I have a guest, I'm always here, the guest is always here. And I ask a simple question. How do I know right away that he is memorizing and reciting what he prepared? This is how he starts. So I already know, take a deep breath before you recite. And then he delivers it in a chronological manner.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen. Let's look back, Tom, to when you fell in love with somebody. You would just really pour your heart out. And you can correct me at any point in time. I'm not here to be a guru, right? Who wants to ever fall in love, be in love, or to forever love a fake person? That's kind of scary, Tom. What's your take on that?
That's investing in lies, isn't it? It's dedicating your emotions, your time, your dedication to lies. And I don't think there's anything more hurtful than that, to find out that you've been dedicating your time, your effort to deceit. I hate that. I hate that thought.
Well, you know how I like to make things wacky to make it palatable and acceptable to the audience. So I make things funny. I actually delivered a talk. I call it talk, not speeches, because I always thought that speech is kind of one way, right? It's one way. It's like don't talk when someone's delivering speech. And I always tell you, disagree with me, please. Give me your opinion, give me your commentary. I actually delivered a talk to a bunch of very intelligent boys. They were all techie, extremely bright, but you know how it is when you grew up. They were very young, in their 20s. When they grew up with gadgets, well, you don't have conversations with gadgets, right? So they were learning the art of public speaking. Goody. Eye contact, Notice the eyes. You already know something. Tom, tell me, what I look like if I look at you like this?
Scary.
Scary, right? And then body language, the person remembers. And then smile. You know what it's like to have scary eyes, stiff body language, and then smile. Tom, take a look at this. You recite to me, tell me, scared eyes, stiff body language, and smile. Order me to do that.
Scared eyes, stiff body language, fake smile.
Why am I telling you this? Try to observe. The fake people do that in sequence before they start talking. And then that's it. That's it. I'm just sitting there like, okay, this is going sideways. I always talk about, you were going to ask me something a while ago. We were having a funny conversation. You want to share with the world what you asked me about what I wear?
Why you look like why you definitely never look like you've just done the dishes.
Exactly. Hey, peeps, we were supposed to start at 8 o'clock and I wasn't online. And Tom says, here, right? I said, coming. I was doing the dishes. And I told Tom, looking like this, I said, oh, sorry, Tom. I just finished doing the dishes. Tom looks at me like this, like, you never look like you just did the dishes. The trick, Tom, is my favorite rule for everybody. I
I
tell
want
people,
to know this one.
yes, you will repeat it again for the second time once more, this time with feeling over and over again. Number one, decide to have a nice time with the person.
Mm-hmm.
Two is, why should it matter? If I really just finish the dishes, will you love me less? Will you not like me as a speaker? And the third is the most powerful. It's three words. And remember the first letter, I, D, C. I don't care. I like your laughter, but I don't care.
While I agree with you in principle, people should take their friends and colleagues as real humans who experience the whole gamut of things in their life. I think as a broadcaster, Vivien, you always put your best foot forward, no matter what happened 10 minutes ago.
I like what you just said. That means I must be doing something right. But guess what
I
I'm
think
known
so.
for? Actually, I don't care. And maybe that's why it looks like I put my best foot forward, but I'm going to share with you wacky stuff that have happened. Why?
Yep.
You and I know that most people, if they make a mistake, forget a line, or just go blank, they freeze, right? What have I been known to do in my talk show since about 2009? I would go and say, oh my gosh, I just dropped my ball pen. I cannot bend because if I bend, I'm afraid I might not be able to get back up. My waistline or the size of it gets in the waist. Second is my shawl will never look the same. And this is all on ear, Tom. And then I look straight at the cam, and the booth of the technical people, the techies, are in the wall behind, and it's a glass wall. And they're listening because they monitor everything. And I go to the mic and say, techies, help. I can't bend. I'm overweight. This is all on ear, Tom. How would you feel if you were the viewer?
Well, I hope the viewers didn't hear all that, Vivien.
They do. They did. They do. And I always announce my bloopers. That's my brand. I
Right.
announce all my bloopers. So I know you were programmed. Be your best. But look at the very best speakers. They are so real,
Hmm.
right? And I know there's a formula where people give prepared speeches about Oh, my sad, blah, blah, blah. Then my struggles, and here I am today. But that's all prepared. So why is it so bad if people obviously saw my pen fall? I'll give you a second one. They would see me. I should show you my clips. Most shows are always picture perfect. You know what my show's like? From the time I come in, rushing in, setting up, people see the backstory. They see everything. I put my folders down, my handbag here, I adjust the mic. There's two schools of thought, and please, you don't have to agree with me. Some people share, why do you do that? I'm like, do what? Why do you let them see what's going on? I said, I don't care. I mean, I'm real. I want them to see what's going on. And then they say, shouldn't you just keep your mic off, your camera off, and just show when it's perfect? I'm like, no. And they say, why? I say, because that's not me. I've hosted parties where people are in the kitchen, no kidding, Tom, while I'm cooking. And they're tasting while I'm cooking. So it's just typically me. The funniest, Tom, is the time like I set up and people saw me panic. This is all on air already with the background music. And my time is running because airtime, I'm not an employee. This is all paid airtime. Okay, as block timers. And they see me panicking. And then I open the show. I I go through my typical good afternoon, it's 3 p.m., blah, blah, blah. And I tell them, I'm so glad I know what I'm saying because I can't read anything today. Apparently, I left my glasses by the makeup mirror. um, what's your reaction emotionally when you see and hear that?
You mentioned that you like cooking and having your guests taste your cooking. When I'm having a dinner party, I always make sure that my food is going to be half cooked by the time people arrive, because I want them to sit there and enjoy the process of creating the food with me, share a glass of wine or a beer while we're still figuring out exactly how this dish is going to finish. Does it need more salt? Does it need less salt? So I'm a
Yes.
very good, plus I also think if they see me in the cooking process, they see more of me than just as the server, somebody who delivers this gorgeous look, because I am a good chef, that they get a wonderfully presented meal that tastes delicious and scrumptious, but they get to see what happened in the background. And I guess that is why you're happy to have people see you drop the pen, because they see the whole of you, they see the background of it.
Yeah.
I believe one of the best ways to build rapport, to build trust, is to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, and then acknowledge that you've made a mistake or acknowledge that you've been vulnerable. And I think that when it comes to public speaking, a lot of public speakers never, ever do that. They become so polished. I remember this incident that happened a few years ago when I was coaching a young lady in a speech contest, and I thought that her topic wasn't suitable for the forum, but she insisted that this topic meant a lot to her. It was wildlife preservation. And I said, look, wildlife preservation, while important, it may not reach across borders. I encouraged her to choose a different topic, but she determined, this is what I want to talk about. This is who I am. And I said, okay, great. Okay, let's go with it. At the contest, she was competing against a very seasoned speaker who talked about a time in her life when she fell out with her father and her father died. And she said it like this: and then I found out my father died. A tear went down my cheek. I was devastated. And everybody knew that there was script, practice, zero emotion. And I am glad to say that my protege won that contest because she was authentic. She truly believed what she was saying, even though the people may not have shared her beliefs, they respected her for her passion. And I think that's the most important. Be yourself, show yourself, be vulnerable, even if you make mistakes. You
I
agree with
know
me, Vivien?
with all my heart, my kidneys, my liver, my breast.
Just your heart, please. Just your heart.
I told you, I have high IQ, insanity quotient.
I believe you.
But I like what you said. You do know that I am apparently and quite obviously maverick in my ways, unorthodox, non traditional, trailblazing, call it whatever you want. But still, people put in the private chat, hey, you make sense. It's consistent. Hey, you make sense. And I've seen this very often. You're like a breath of fresh air. And I always tell you and everybody else, you don't have to agree with me. You can give your opinion, but I tell people, look, we have two schools of thought between the two of us, Tom, and we're both having fun. Why, in heaven's name, do people start like this? I don't agree. I disagree. And I'm like, why do you have to get so ugly about it? Can you explain that to me? To just share an insight or opinion, they have to get ugly, they have to get angry. Why, Tom? Why?
It's a weird world we live in. Ideally, what you'd want to do is have your beliefs, your ideas challenged to give you a firmer ground to stand on. Because the more challenge you can resist, the more sure you can be of where you are. And this is what science is based on, isn't it? In science, we're always trying to undermine the scientific principles to see how strong they are. And yet, for some reason in this world, we try to tear everybody down that does not agree with us. Something's happened. Maybe it's leaking over from the world of politics, that as soon as you disagree with me, we have to be on the opposite sides of the world. Interestingly, a few years ago in Australia, there was the debate over homosexual marriage. And the strangest thing is, it wasn't about whether one side is right or wrong. It came down to being binary, being on two sides and arguing with each other and not really trying to understand the other side. And whichever side won, it didn't win on sound arguments, it won on noise. It was louder. And that's not the way to win something as important as that debate.
I like the word you just said, the last word, debate. I have also delivered a talk called Life is Not a Debate. To help you understand, I didn't grow up or I wasn't educated in a local school. The school I went to was multicultural, interreligious, international. It had only one rule. Just see and hear the person. You don't have to agree or disagree, but very early on, from kindergarten up, we all learned how to have conversations. Let me share with you. So what happens if you don't agree, right? My sharing is you do not have to say, and we hear this, Tom, they always start with either, I agree. I'm like, look at the face, rolling of the eyes. Those are the worst two words or worst words to start anything. You don't have to tell me whether you agree or disagree. I have the intelligence to understand if you clearly state what you're feeling or thinking. Worst is when they say, I disagree. So immediately there is a wall. But you can see here, you and I, we don't know each other very well. We just see each other 1 hour every week. And that's not even one-on-one. It's just with a bunch of people who like to live, think, and feel the way we do. But we're able to dance. Now, this is what I tell people. In a candid conversation, you like that, huh? Candid conversations, right? I think it's the exact opposite of prepared speech. In a candid conversation, like what we're having, for the people to know, Tom and I had no idea, and we still have no idea about what the theme here is going to be, but it's really about candid conversations with people you don't really know, are a day in your life. At the bus stop, at the supermarket, at the pharmacy, there's someone beside you. And some people call it small talk. Tom, I have something to share. It's not small talk as people call it. I call it moments that matter. Yeah, moments that matter. Now, going back to what I was sharing, what we're doing now, where I can help people understand show and tell with Miss B, I never know. I don't know the person I'm talking to for an hour. I don't. So when people say, you're a broadcaster, you're good at talking, I'm like, no, you learn to shut up when you're a talk show host. You learn to, that word listen, to the message, not the words. Now, people are like, listen, the us and the ums. No, don't listen to the us and ums. Because when you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, to the us and ums, you're not listening to or for the message. You don't care. You're just listening to the us and ums. I would like to strongly or lovingly recommend to listen to the message from the heart of the person you're talking with. And that for me is what candid conversations are all about. Not talking to, not talking at, but talking with. Give me your sharing and insights on this, Tom.
Communication is not one way pronunciation of words and hoping they'll be understood. First, you need to frame your conversation, the words you say, in a context that will be understood. So you have to be sensitive to what the other person will understand from your words. And secondly, it is also then to place yourself in a position where you're trying to understand what that other person says, how they respond, not just in words, but in their body language, in the facial expressions. That's a conversation, that's communication. And unfortunately, I can't remember now who said this, that the biggest challenge to communication is the impression that it actually happened.
Thank you, Tom. Many people think that if they have something really bright and brilliant to say, that communication happened. I just tell people, talk to the wall, talk to the hand, right? So I tell people, it's not so much what you and I, Tom, like right now, want to tell them. It's what at least I think will matter to them. Is it meaningful? Is it memorable? But most of all, is it relevant? And that's the whole point of this conversation, this candid conversation Tom Bielski and I, Vivien Mangalindan, are having right now to share with the world. Go, have candid conversations, have moments that matter. Because at the end of it all, at the end of your calendar days on this planet, Tom, for public speakers like you and me, I believe in our hearts and in our minds, regardless of how many titles, trophies, or certificates we have, taking our dying breath, I believe we will be thinking, did I really live? Did I truly love? And most of all, did I lovingly matter?
Exactly.
Your take on that, Tom?
I wholeheartedly agree with you that most of us cruise through life not realizing what is important to us, what should be important to us, what is important to everybody around us. I agree with you there.
Thank you very much. Tom, I would like to thank you for the moments we just shared where most people say, thank you for your time. I'm like, everybody says that. I tell people, thank you for a part of your life that you shared with me because time is life and life is made up of time. Life is
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing this slice of your time with me, and it's been a pleasure. I hope maybe we can do it again sometime soon.
I like what you just said. I like being a fairy godmother. I like making wishes come true because, Tom, that's my wish too. I would like to inspire you. Perhaps we can do this quite regularly as long as it's convenient for you. Our meetings are on Sundays, and conveniently, your time zone and mine are the same.
The same. Yeah.
So What are the odds? Two continents, two countries, same time zone. Fascinating. So, Tom, sincerely, thank you for a part of your life you shared with me, and time is the most precious gift we can ever give anybody. So, I thank you.
Thank you,
And
Vivien.
I look forward to having you again, having candid conversations, Tom Bielski, with Miss V, that's me, Vivien Mangalindan, on Show and Tell with Miss V. Hugs and kisses from Manila. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
And from Perth.